History is often told to us as if it were a neat and logical line. There are beginnings, breaking points, and conclusions. But these narratives do not always fully reflect the truth, because history consists not only of what happened, but of the records of what was allowed to be told. For an event to enter history, it is not enough that it simply happened. It must be considered worthy of being recorded, and those who make that decision are, more often than not, more powerful than the event itself. That is why it is correct to call history not a natural flow, but a selected narrative. Some events are recorded, some are declared insignificant, and some are quietly eliminated from the very beginning. This elimination rarely happens suddenly. It is a process that stretches over years, perhaps even centuries. Access to documents is blocked, sources disappear, witnesses are silenced. In time, only the narrative remains. Today, as humanity tries to learn our past, we settle for only the documents presented to us. Yet among these documents, deliberate gaps have been left. These gaps are the places where questions are not meant to be asked. Was it really like this? Could another narrative have been possible? What are we not being told? These questions become unsettling because they challenge the existing order, and throughout history, questions that challenge order have not been welcomed. In the very heart of Rome, behind thick stone walls, there is a place where traces of these questions are kept: the Vatican's Secret Archives. These archives hold not only the past of a religious institution, but also humanity's controlled memory. What is kept here is not only old documents, they are decisions about which knowledge will be remembered and which will be forgotten. And these decisions have shaped the world for centuries. The archive behind closed doors. The Vatican Apostolic Archives are officially defined as the historical memory of the Catholic Church, but this definition reflects the truth only superficially. Although the archives appear on the surface like a small and simple structure, for visitors this is a controlled and silent place, but this is only the visible part. In reality, the archives are a layered system that expands underground. With shelf length exceeding roughly 85 kilometers, it holds millions of documents. Among these documents are secret correspondences of kings, secret agreements between the Pope and heads of state, decisions that influence the outcomes of wars, interrogation records, and files that have never been revealed to the public. But what makes these archives unique is not the sheer amount of information they contain. What truly matters is who can access that information. Permission to access the Vatican archives does not work like an ordinary academic process. Researchers must go through long and complex application procedures. Their identities, intentions, and past work are examined in detail. Which documents will be allowed and which files will remain secret are determined in advance. There are strict rules for taking notes, copying, and sharing. Some documents can only be examined for a short time, and some are never opened for access under any circumstances. Most importantly, the decision of which documents will be opened is entirely under the Vatican's control. This ensures not free access to knowledge, but that who learns what, when, and for what purpose is known. Some documents are kept secret for decades. Some do not see daylight for centuries, and the existence of some is not even officially acknowledged. In that case, one unavoidable question comes to mind. If these documents belong to human history, why are they hidden from people? Some gaps in written history are not accidental. What is missing in a narrative often shows that that part was deliberately removed. If a document is missing, it does not only mean it was lost. Most of the time, it was deliberately concealed. This process does not operate by the decision of a single person. As archives are formed, access rules and priorities are set. And when the time comes, some knowledge is quietly redefined as legitimate. If a piece of knowledge does not fit the official narrative, it is first declared suspicious. Then it becomes insignificant. In the end, it is made completely invisible. At this point, archives stop being merely places where documents are stored. They become spaces where it is decided which version of truth will come to life. This is the truly unsettling side of the Vatican Archives. The issue here is not whether a document exists, but who can read it, when, and for what purpose. If you cannot reach a piece of knowledge, that knowledge has no meaning for you. And access is one of the most effective methods of control. That is why the Vatican Archives attract not only historians, but also anyone who is curious about and studies mechanisms of power. Because these archives show not so much how knowledge is hidden, but how it is managed. And managed knowledge over time replaces truth. People know their past only as much as they are allowed to. Everything else is left in the dark. For this reason, the Vatican Secret Archives cannot be evaluated only as a matter of history. These archives are one of the longest-lasting examples of the relationship between knowledge and power. And this relationship continues to shape not only the past, but the present as well. Forbidden knowledge and silenced truths. Behind the strict protection of the Vatican Archives, there are not only political secrets or diplomatic correspondence. The real issue is knowledge itself. Throughout history, some knowledge has been accepted as dangerous. Because it makes people question existing beliefs and weakens authority. It makes people think that another possibility might be possible. The index Librorum Prohibitorum, the list of forbidden books created by the Vatican for centuries, is one of the clearest examples of this approach. Reading books that entered this list resulted for a long time in severe punishments, excommunication, exile, and in some periods, even death. The list of forbidden works did not include only religious texts. Many scientific works written in astronomy, philosophy, mathematics, cosmology, and medicine also appeared on this list. Some of these works were banned because they argued that Earth is not at the center of the universe. Others because they contain different narratives about humanity's origins. The trial of Galileo Galilei is one of the best-known examples of conflict between knowledge and authority. But Galileo is not alone. Up to the present day, many scientists have been silenced because their work was found dangerous. Some were made to abandon their ideas, and some were made to be completely forgotten. If these ideas were truly not correct, why was there so much concern? According to some claims, original documents of suppressed works are still preserved in the Vatican Archives. If this claim is true, then perhaps knowledge that humanity could have reached centuries ago was deliberately prevented. And this indicates that progress was not natural, but controlled. The darkest files. At this point, the claims put forward about the Vatican Archives become even more unsettling. According to some researchers, these archives contain not only forbidden works, but also hidden records belonging to civilizations. Atlantis is a legend for humanity today. But in some ancient texts that have been found, there are striking details about Atlantis-like civilizations. The societies mentioned in these texts use technologies in harmony with nature, with advanced engineering knowledge and high architectural competence. According to some claims, ancient maps, chronicles, and early testimonies of these civilizations are kept in the Vatican Archives. The existence of these documents has not yet been confirmed, but no definitive explanation proving that they do not exist has been made either. Perhaps one of the most unsettling claims is about time itself. From exactly this point on, the line between history and legend becomes blurred. And perhaps for this reason, some records have been considered not only controversial, but also dangerous. Officially, even though the chronovisor claim has not been confirmed, this claim has not been buried in silence for years. If this technology truly existed, history was not only written, it was watched and selected. In that case, if history can be watched, there must be someone deciding which moments will be visible and which will be forgotten. Even this possibility proves that the Vatican Archives are not only mysterious, but also unsettling. And danger often arises not from technology, but from the minds that begin to understand it. What is truly dangerous is offering people a different way of thinking. If an idea conflicts with existing beliefs, it is first declared marginal, then it is classified as unreliable. In the final stage, it begins to be completely ignored. With this method, it becomes far more effective than an open ban. Because as time passes, people stop questioning something they do not even know exists. The Vatican's relationship with knowledge has also often operated through this silent method. When a text is forbidden, it is not only prevented from being read. Discussions about that text are also silenced. Academic references and sources disappear. After a few generations, that knowledge is erased from history as if it never existed. This is less the erasure of knowledge than the rewriting of memory. The claim of erased civilizations gains importance exactly at this point. Because if civilizations existed in the past with knowledge more advanced than today's level of humanity, this would shake the modern understanding of progress at its core. Humanity's progress may not have followed a linear line of development. Some knowledge may have been discovered first, then lost, and later remembered again. Even the existence of this possibility is enough to question history's progress narrative. The most dangerous aspect of forbidden knowledge is not that it is always wrong. That is why such records have always been considered unsettling. Chronovisor is a device claimed to have been developed in the 20th century by clergy and scientists. It is claimed that it could observe the past. This claim suggests that time may be not a passive background, but an accessible domain. If the past can be observed, then history stops being merely a story that is told and turns into a sequence of selected images. Rather than whether chronovisor truly existed or not, what matters more is why such an idea was suppressed so harshly. The existence of this idea suggests that those who control historical records could decide which moments of truth to show us. This thought is not only unsettling, but also dangerous. Knowledge, power, and an unready humanity. Throughout history, knowledge never existed at any stage only for the sake of knowing. Knowledge was always associated with power. Having a piece of knowledge and deciding who could learn it was in many cases more effective than producing that knowledge. For centuries, the Vatican was known not only as a center of faith, but also as a global authority. Kings received approval before being crowned. The course of empires changed with decisions made here. For this reason, it should not be surprising that the documents hidden in the archives could have the power to affect not only the past, but the present and even the future. That is why what matters is not the existence of documents, but their timing. It is believed that there is a right moment for each piece of knowledge to be revealed. Societies must be ready for this knowledge. The shaking of belief systems, the disruption of order is not desired. But with this approach, this question arises: who must be ready for a truth to be revealed? Humanity or those who hold power? This journey that began with Tesla's so-called lost notebooks did not bring us to the Vatican Gate by coincidence. Tesla was someone who always believed that knowledge should be free. He supported the sharing of energy. Because of these ideas, he was considered a dangerous person in his time. Tesla's notebooks were collected. His work was destroyed. Some of his ideas were declared ahead of their time. Today, as we speak of the Vatican Archives, we see the same pattern. Knowledge exists, but there is no access. Documents exist, but their timing is uncertain. That is why history was never a completely closed book. Some chapters are sealed, some pages are deliberately skipped, and the answers to some questions are left to the future. The real question should be this: when the truths emerge, will the world be ready for it? Or will the truths once again be hidden from those who are not ready? The final question. The Vatican's secret archives are not only a story of the past. These archives are one of the longest-lasting examples of the relationship between power and knowledge, and this relationship still continues today. Perhaps one day these doors will open completely. Perhaps they will not. But history shows this clearly. Knowledge cannot be destroyed, it only waits, and it can never truly remain silent. Next time, we step even further back in time, toward an ancient device that should never have existed, a machine that challenges everything we believe about human knowledge in the ancient world. If you don't want to lose this investigation, subscribe to Archive of Dark Secrets.